Shooter, Volume 1, Just to Get a Rep, Group Home. Peace. L and Quacha started off like any other story in the hood. He was born into a crazy family with a crazy mom who was separated from her man and living in the southwest section of Philadelphia. She was a good mom who loved her kid, but she was unprepared for the responsibility to raise him. So most of the time her son was in the care of her mom, L and Quacha grandmom. Ellen Carter grandmom was like any other grandmom. She played bingo, went to church a lot, and liked to entertain guests in her home, and greatly appreciated church. Church all day Sunday and Bible study all week. She was old though. Grandmoms would be on point near things that concerned her, but she would be knocked out or lax on Ellen Quacha just due to the simple fact of old age. Ellen Quacha would be running around with his school friends after school. The parks, they played ball and would congregate at their cool friend's crib and play video games, listen to MTV jams and pop shit. They weren't poor, but money was always an issue. On the lucky chance that there was bread, the brothers would burn and fall out in the same living room. Ellen Quacha was taller than kids his age and would use his height to intimidate. Some would strong-arm your shit if you was asleep in school. He would catch kids before they hopped on the train and brody them out of their fresh jackets and pocket money. He would run back to his friends and break bread, smoke a blunt, and eat. It wasn't a necessary beginning to his strong-arm movie, but at the end of the day, Grandmom will hold you down. But there was always a limit to her benevolence. Mom Duke would come through and bless him with gear and food, but that was few and far between. She was still doing her thing and wasn't too into a child weighing down her movement with silly requests beyond food and shelter. Ellen Quacha was a smart guy though. He would be in school like it was a breeze, but he was more into shaking down the clowns with the fly shit and the young girls. Life went like grandmom and petty robberies until some guy told on him. I'll never forget, we were in the school cafeteria chilling when suddenly Ellen Quacha and a tall white kid burst through the double doors, tussling and hitting each other. No one was concerned with stopping the fight as we all had the cell phones out recording the squabble. Oh shit, El beefing with the white kid. They're wrestling and we're all wondering what set this off. Some of the kids were happy, like damn, somebody finally stood up to this prick. He been robbing me all semester. They were fighting over some damn sneakers. Timbs that came up missing in the locker room or something. Ellen Quacha was like a hustler / thief though. If he stole something, he would sell it to you if you had money. Sort of a shice version of the resale game, because half of the stuff he's selling wasn't his. But what did it matter when you had those true religions you always wanted, or whatever? I met him like that, buying shit off of him. But I was like, this guy got some other shit going on. That was his energy. He got kicked out of school for the fight. The caseworkers convinced his grandmom to sign him into the group home because this wasn't the first infraction or whatever. The group home was worse though. So she should have not agreed to let him go. Ellen Quacha was just now around more young guys with the same background and a police state atmosphere, like a ROTC for the jails or something. It was some sort of tell you when to sleep and shit type of mess that's not healthy for the sense of freedom and liberty. If you're early with criminal enterprise, it is what it is. The group home was what it was. Dudes getting the short end of the stick up there. A brother just coming home who wasn't going home to nothing probably end up there, surrounded by the same fiends who kept robbing their families, pedos, dudes on the run ducking warrants, just every last strain of the unloved men in the society you could think of. Ellen Quacha rolling up the first day into that. It wasn't as hard as jail, but they had their little system. A very lockup-orientated culture, but it wasn't police. It was case managers who look at everybody's specific case, signing people up to Narcotics Anonymous meetings, and mental health clinics and stuff. Nobody had your back really in that infrastructure. It was just a bunch of lip service to shake down the governmental agencies that were supposed to address need. Alan Quattro was chill though. He burned with the brothers that was in his relatable age bracket and probably stole stuff out people's lockers and sell that stuff off. Not much for drugs and not a mental health case meant you look for some type of work or chill downstairs all day. He wasn't downstairs with me, so you know the brother was looking for something outside. Life was kind of like in the group home, but Ellen Quattro was like probably starting shit on the low. He was the type of to not take shit from the security and all that. With someone like me, might have to be in some compromised position requesting small shit like tokens. He would be arguing with the staff. I decided they must have hated his ass because they used all that outreach and infrastructure to kick him out of the building in the middle of the cold winter. It was like January or February. They were some cold ass people when they felt like it. Around 3 a.m, I walked downstairs to get a candy bar out of the vending machine, and I see Ellen Quattro arguing with the security at the front gate. The security, frustrated, said, "That's it, Quattro. Get out of here. You're out of here." He shoved him out the building, grabbed his stuff from in the dorm, and threw that out too. I walked up the steps thinking the staff is on some foulness. I used to kick it with him behind a Dutch and some green he saved till late night. He had a baby on the way and a girl at the time. I always kind of felt like that movement was rotten. A few months later, they let him back in, then kicked him out for some other offense. Saint Nowhere. Ellen Quattro had people. He got a spot and a job, living in the southwest section and commuting downtown to work. After a while, it just felt like the same old thing. He pick up his check, take care of his daughter or whatever, burn a little with his peers, and tend to his baby mother, whatever she was doing. There wasn't a lot of opportunities on the block. You do what you can, maybe something would turn up, and then it would be something better to look forward to. People say you make your own opportunities. So that's what he just eventually did. But before the moment when the armor crack and people get on their street shit, they try to be good and work with the support of the system and the law. The cops watching, they know your history and watch your movements a little more when you've been within the confines of all the institutional buildings. Dudes come home like that all the time. Now we on the block just watching each other. Mom Duke getting money, your dad in jail or out of state, laid up with some side chick, your sister eating, but she totally self-absorbed and only break for the latest dick with cash she got her claws on. Your brother down with you, but he as useless and uncreative as you are. So soon to be stick-up kids, Ellen Quattro and his brother, just chilling on the set, watching newcomers plotting on their shit. The weed sellers they were cool with, so they smoke off the communal pound the seller ate with. Smoking on the block with his bro, who going through his own shit too. Their dialogue. "What's up, bro?" "Shit." "What's up with that chick you met the other day?" "Shit. I don't wanna. After I seen the headache she capable of being." "Damn, you not hitting that?" "Nah, man. She a cuckoo chick, dog." "How so?" "She got her baby father who a lunatic. Then she got him locked up for nothing." "That's good for you. Now you got some cooch at the rest with no tension." "Dog, she cooked and not worth no type of effort like." "Alright, dog, damn. You just wasting another hot young woman on some she's too much of a headache type shit." "She is, brother." Their eyes glazed over like a high and low while the conversation veered off to some other direction. "Check this out," Ellen Quattro said as a Benz truck pulled up to the house on the other side of the steps they were burning at. A guy hopped out with a steel glare their direction and rang the bell of the girl across the street they were discussing. His back was facing them as he felt on her ass with a full grip and pressed her body against his. He was on her front stoop, licking on her neck and kissing on her shoulder. Ellen Quacha and his bro passed the Dutch to one another in quiet discernment. She was whispering inaudible things to him while his face was buried in her neck and shoulder area. She looked at the two burning across the street and rolled her eyes playfully. She licked her lips at them and winked. She grabbed the kissy guy by the hand and led him inside her crib. The door closed behind her. Yo, bro, Ellen Quacha said, now fully high from the weed. His brother said, see, that's what I'm talking about. Bitches ain't shit. Why you acting like that when she winking and licking her sexy ass lips at us? Dog, she want to play games with motherfuckers too much. Well, she could play all the games she want on my dick. Dog, she got that nigga locked. Then she trying to fuck with me immediately. Now she licking her lips at us while this idiot kissing on her. Yeah, good for us. Dude, she's the reason the news at 11 is so packed up. You too scary. A few minutes passed as they sat out front on the block. Some young kids raced past them on bike. Oh shit, remember the Huffy bikes biking every fucking way, my G? Yeah, fuck those badass kids. They should be doing something productive besides biking all over the fucking place. At least they getting a grasp of their area and all that. I repeat, fuck those motherfuckers. Fuck wrong with you? One of them kids picking up on the rotten vibes of one of their elders spat while en route past the two red-eyed teens. The kid mumbled, now that's weed heads pitiful. The positive one, Ellen Quacha, said, ha, that little kid sound like your aunt. Then an agreement said loud enough for them to hear, that's a nice bike. I'll fuck you right on up and take that shit, young boy. Fuck out of here. The young boy not totally out of earshot, but not wanting to press the hot strangers kicked over a trash can on the end of the block without looking back at the two. Ellen Quacha said, Philly can suck ass sometimes. It was a pleasant day though. Despite all the negative statements, it was unreasonably warm and there was more people and activity on the Ave than normal because of it. At that time, Ellen Quacha and his man were just kind of theft at random. They might rob you if they felt good about the success rate and the odds of snitching. The hood stigma on telling was a cultural goldmine for thieves and drug peddlers. Back then, the only people who would tell was old busybody ladies and kids who watched too much TV. There's some difference between gossip and telling, but both are threatening because they cause the same problems. Because of brothers like Ellen Quacha and his men, the people couldn't have shit though. If those two saw you on the block with some nice things, a chain, a new anything that could get a return at the pawn shops, they be on it. They'll roll up smiling, oozing a hidden contempt for your little bullshit. Oh shit, baby. Will you get that thick Cuban link, daddy? You came up, baby. They keep at it until you feel kind of good about your crap. Then when you roll out, man, fuck that faggot, Lord. I'ma catch that bitch for his ice, bro. His man always with it. Yeah, fuck that pussy. He better not rock that around me one day. They were weak to everyone in that regard, but they definitely were the people you couldn't have anything nice around. But they were loyal to each other and anybody else who was tough and broke all like they were. Psych, they robbed whoever was around under the same circumstances too, if they felt getting away with it was probable. A lot of people hated the two and wanted them to be locked upstate just for breathing. Looking at it from the people perspective, they were a couple of damn headaches. You had to hide your truth fresh from them at all times. They sucked ass as far as a lot of the community was concerned. Much to the chagrin of the people, they had absolutely no intentions of reform. For what? One of their friends who had the best intentions for the two upstarts always suggested they sling drug. It's more profitable. Y'all always in the damn streets anyway. In unison, the two will always scream, "Fuck drugs. I ride the pack boys and give y'all niggas work. You understand? We don't know enough fiends anyway." In unison again, they'd be like, "And fuck fiends. Poppy ain't fronting me shit. I'll rob the nigga's Poppy supply before he look for me." The best intentions friend would be so flabbergasted, he say, "Fuck it, never mind. Y'all crazy." They were a little insecure, truth be told. Poppy, for some reason, would never front them. Those two couldn't get work for shit. All they could really do was rob the block supply, which they were sneaky enough to do and get away with. They robbed the supply before, but they was cut forever just because of the suspicion. Nobody knew who was responsible for the theft when it went down. They had some alibi in one of the little freak joints, but because they were always so damn reckless with the robbery shit anyway, they had a good percentage of the blame. But the vouch from the young girl around the way made suspicion run off in other directions. Despite their controversial trade, they could manage to be funny. Like Jules and Vincent from Pulp Fiction. They were like Smokey and Day Day from Friday. It's just, God forbid, gears in their minds start churning out an idea on that front stoop. Somebody might catch it. Stick-up kids have to put in more work for the same results, it seems. With drugs, there's a supply and a demand. With the stick-up kids, you gotta kind of cook up some plan of action and make it happen. Like some freelance criminal. But if they were content off the tree they were burning and whatever pussy they was actually bagging, it could stall coming at somebody. They had plenty to burn at that moment, but girls around the way were kind of tired of their shit. So they burned some more into the night, halfway observing the block and bullshitting. There was a pretty white girl on the block. She only come outside when her man outside too, like the other girl. He rolling up in a Charger, she hop in, and they just halfway note the shit. Not that couple late night people fucking in their wheel for some reason on the edge of the block. They just chilling watching people while the rest of the block sleep. Hot Spanish chicks rolling to the bar. Little white girls getting Chinese on a stroll. It's fucking dead right now, yo. Ellen Quacher finally spoke up frustrated. They would stay out there all fucking night with no damn work or nothing. Just chilling. Yeah, it is dead right now. Let's rob the weed niggas in front of Crown China. Crown China was the Chinese food spot. They walked up there because there was always some young dude out there at all ungodly hours with weed out. Sure enough, there was a young brother out hustling dimes or whatever. That kid seen them two a block away and didn't stay in front of Crown China long. They were known enough to just up and route. If they was on the way to strong on somebody, they're gonna have bring that bullshit to Crown China itself. Damn, that kid ran off. People knew when they were on their bullshit sometimes. Actually, robbing Crown China wasn't what they wanted, so they walked back to the block. It could happen, but they said it would take a little more ingenuity. The Chinese spot was sealed by thick, see-through plexiglass, and they didn't have any masks or anything. The cops kind of drive by the local businesses with more vigilance ever since the police officer was killed in front of the plaza. They walked back to the block and their weed connect hit them with green in some attempt to sedate them. It kept them chill and laughy, but they still was prone to violence and greed all the damn time. A year beforehand, an officer who worked and policed that district got in a shootout with some guys from a rival set. It wasn't Ellen Quacher and his man, but they were definitely suspects. It was actually a coke drop gone wrong. The news said it was a robbery, though. The news said he was a hero protecting some bystanders caught in the melee. It was sad. Nearby shoppers dropped their bags and ran frantically from the plaza. The guys who tried to pull off the robbery got caught quickly, though. They were sent upstate to serve life sentences in the mountains. It made shopping at the plaza feel a little creepy, knowing a police officer lost his life violently. The area worried people. It was two huge residential districts of the city. There was police, but probably a too overwhelming number of residences for the precincts meant to protect and serve. If you love people, it was dope though. If you were suspicious and scary, you might as well get on because of the population. The police can't and shouldn't even be able to police that much residences. They stayed on the Ave a lot, and I noticed they checked in on the local stores way more than I had ever seen. I'll keep it 100. They only checked on the one little poppy store on the Ave. Why do you ask? Because of the cute little Spanish girl they had working in there. They never at other poppy store closer to the set or nothing, but it's all good. The police being all up in everybody's situation isn't natural. Ellen Quatcher didn't hate the police, but he didn't love them either. To a blossom and stick-up kid, they were an unfortunate nuisance. I'm a sucker. I love the police. Ellen Quatcher was a little different. They were just basically for the old ladies, tattletales and cowards who nobody would back in the neighborhood. And Quatcher had a sketchy set of morals where he wouldn't bother an old lady, but snitches and cowards who love the police were perpetually in green light mode just for living. He run up on guys like me paying their phone bill in the area and fuck with them a little. Catching people at the ATM was always a worry. And Quatcher would be hovering over your damn shoulder, snatch the money out the machine and dip. A guy in love with the police wouldn't have the means to get their shit back. Fuck are the cops gonna do unless you insured it? They had no one holding them down that can confront Quatcher and brothers like that because they were already long reviled as cowards and snitches in the first place. The police are a gang, their damn self. What do you think is going through their mind, sincerely, when y'all bitch ass people come calling? This fucking bitch probably got what he deserved. Street justice just stays winning when it's people like that. Ellen Quatcher said his man walked back to the block high as the Dutch, yet again trying to come up with some idea that would evade the cops and get them a husky payday. The block was kind of low-key, not on a busy Ave. It was a side street. Ellen Quatcher didn't read a lot, just the daily news, checking what was going on around the area. Ellen Quatcher and his man walked back to the block high as the Dutch yet again, trying to come up with some idea that would evade the cops and get them a husky payday. The block was kind of low-key, not on a busy Ave. It was a side street. Ellen Quatcher didn't read a lot, just the daily news, checking what was just going on around the area. If it was info, sometimes later at night, everybody would congregate and sesh and politic, revealing important shit they all had to fathom. New shit. One of the squad was put on to their earlier movements. Friends talking about this, warners about enemies plotting that. Running around running. Ellen Quatcher and his brother Heem then started to put together a plan. I'm tired of this shit, dog. What? I got a daughter, my G. My BM needs money. Yeah. Ellen Quatcher was tired of just sticking up people at random and blazing on the set. So everybody need money. Heem said in the middle of pulling on their nightly Garcia Vega. Dude, let's plan and calculated effort into this shit. Whatever, Heem didn't really give a shit, but he would be the first to go along with whatever Ellen Quatcher was talking. Look, we gotta do it like, hit up these standalone stores. Yeah. Dog, it's like the last places where actual cash pass hands. Heem just wanted to get high and fuck with the girls. Sticking shit up was just a means to his sex-obsessed end. Ellen Quatcher just was flipping with the pressure of a family he felt he had to provide for, but needed more bread. That night, they plotted over the plan to take their gangster little racket to the next level. Fuck this shit. We stepping this up a notch. Heem was in agreement. They went over the plan and decided to put it into action the very next morning. Ellen Quatcher and Heem decided to move with 2 pairs of Glock 9s, something smaller for weapon, but would still get the point across that they were holding. They weren't killers, and they didn't want the blood of the dead on their hands at all. One of the old heads back in the days will talk to them about murder and how it haunts and plagues the person responsible, and the police will find you and all that. They agreed that they just wanted money. They wanted to create enough of a sense of panic in who they were pursuing to just come off the money easily. Him would be there for any security trying to get brave, and Ellen Quacher would demand the paper out of the stash. Security was always there. They would be posted in the front of the stores they were plotting on. Subdue that man, and the other people should just capitulate to the demands. They decided that should work. Get the money and book it up the block and meet later on. So that's it. They rolled out. No marijuana, no drinks, sober and focused. July 1st, it was a scorching summer day. They decided to run up to Shelton Ave. The area seemed all right. There was a school next to the stores and shops kind of all next to one another. A Burger King on the other end of the block. It was risky, but it was all risky. A bunch of shops, potentially some school kids who tanked on grades last semester, a nice looking area. Either the shock and awe of a bold move like that would get you out of the situation, or the boys would be on you before you ran out. They didn't care. They ran in the store. Don't get tough, dog. He screamed, holding the security at gunpoint. Ellen Quacher ran behind the counter. Give me all the money out the back. Don't try anything. Just do what I say. The people in the store was panicking. They just handed the money off. Money in hand, they ran out the front of the store in opposite directions. They met later on the block. Ellen Quacher broke off half of the cut to him. They chilled to see if anyone would catch on. They got low for 2 months. August 26th, it was another blazing summer day. They decided to hit North Broad Street. Broad Street is like the main street of North Philly. If they had told anyone, they would have called them insane. To top it off, the store was at the Erie Ave section. Erie Ave is like throngs of people headed this way and that. Between the train and all the bus routes and foot traffic, it's too many people. The good part of too many people is maybe they could rob you and blend into the masses of people. So they went in, performed the same procedure. I don't know how Metro PCS is. They might not have had a guard, but Heem was there playing his part. Ellen Quacher strolled behind the counter. You know the drill. Give me the money. Flashing the heat at the store clerks. They were handed a bunch of paper. They ran out separate directions and met back on the block. It worked. The crowds of people masked the exit strategy. Heem got his cut and they got low again. September 1st, it was still warm out. They targeted North Broad Street again. It was in an odd spot, Hunting Park. There was a string of stores as usual, but there was a heavily patronized McDonald's in the middle of an island off of Broad. The area was another side that's like a couple of businesses and a large park where the future NFL players practice. Well, they ran into another Metro PCS. Hand me everything out the register. Don't try me. Him holding it down for the security. They had a quick movement. They go opposite directions, connect back on the block. Him get his half, they get low. September 12th, same warmth in the air. They brought their movement farther away from Broad. They went around Frankfort Avenue. There are trolley car wires high above the street for electric run buses and a wide street. Again, there were a string of stores not in a shopping complex just beside the street. It was the Northeast, or at least heading in that direction. Ellen and Heem ran the same play. This is not a game. Hand off all the money in the cash register. Heem in the front for the security. It was what it was. They separated, met back on the block, and Heem